an adoption of the agenda. A motion, please. All right, second.
Stratton.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. We are moving on to public comment. All right, briefly public comment. Policy in brief is as follows. At the time for public comment occurs, to provide an opportunity for individuals to address the board regarding school district issues. Patrons must submit a request to make public comment no later than noon on the day of a regularly scheduled board meeting. After a short break, the regular board meeting will start at 6 p.m. Patrons in attendance at the meeting are required to wear a mask, and thank you all. Looks like most of you have masks on. Instructions for electronic submission of patrons' notice to speak at public comment may be found at the Board of Education web page as part of the district website. The clerk of the board, Terry Wintering, will guide you through this process. Quiet would be appreciated. The president may impose a time limit of 3 minutes or less for each speaker in order to provide as many patrons as possible the opportunity to speak. There are a few reminders that will help speakers have a constructive and positive experience when presenting your comments to the board. When making your remarks, please proceed to the podium when your name is called and share your name, city of residence, what school your children attend if applicable, and the name of any group or organization you are representing. Please limit your remarks to 3 minutes or less as indicated by the president. Written comments and or materials will be accepted. Please, and you can give them to the clerk of the board for distribution. Please make your comments while remaining behind the podium. Complaints regarding students or staff should first be addressed to the administration in accordance with the board policy complaints. If that procedure has been completed, the board will consider whether to hear such complaints in executive session in order to protect the privacy interests of students or staff involved. Generally, responses from the board members during public comment will be limited to clarifying questions. The full policy can be found on the district website on the board landing page. So our first guest tonight is Debbie Detmer.
Can you hear me?
I can, thank you.
My name is Debbie Detmer. I'm a grandmother of 8 and a retired nurse. And I wanted to go make sure you were up to date on case number 21CB4186, Johnson County Parents versus Johnson County Board of Commissioners. They filed the court decided that the striking this point, the school boards have home rule authority under the Kansas Constitution that grants the school boards the power to maintain safe facilities. That's Brickell 211, Kansas at 917. So the BOCC's council also agreed with this point. Eventually, the parties agreed that the school districts have the final say on the mask mandates issue. So it is not the BOCC's order that has caused the plaintiff's injuries. Instead, the school district's decisions to require the plaintiffs to wear masks caused these injuries. Thus, the school district's decisions are the actual cause of the plaintiff's grievance, not the BOCC. Today, we are handing you notices of intents to file against your claims of your surety bonds with Liberty Mutual. And you have unconstitutionally and illegal actions. Violations of your oath of office. You have sworn an oath to uphold the Constitution of the state of Kansas and the Constitution of the United States of America. You have failed to uphold both of these constitutions. We live in America and are free to live our lives without restrictions, abuse, and unlawful mandates from elected governmental officials. Mandates are non-enforceable laws. As an elected public servant, you have no jurisdiction or authority to create and enforce mandates. Violations of the Kansas Bill of Rights. 6, slavery prohibited, servitude for conviction of crime. There shall be no slavery in the state and no involuntary servitude, except for the punishment of crime, whereof the parties should have been duly convicted. You have forced our children to wear masks. Masks are used in other cultures to control and enslave people, to diminish, demoralize them. Masks were and still are worn as formidable obedience. You have forced our children to wear these masks. Violation of the Kansas Bill of Rights, religious liberty, property or qualification for public office, and the right to worship God according to the dictations of science. So you have not done that too. There's plenty more. There's the public health order of 0121, and that's where the next person will start. Shay, LaVanier and Gary Morgan, sorry, are gonna walk up with me now.
All right, wait.
I'm also delivering they need to go to you.
And if you could hand them to, yes, Ms. Wintering, that would be great.
April, you can pick them up if you need to.
Could you just hand them to Ms. Wintering and we'll get on to the next. Ms. Detmer?
Hey, I've got my 3 minutes, thank you. Right? Hey, my time is coming out.
John Beers?
Religious liberty, property qualification for public office, the right to worship God according to the dictates of conscience shall never be infringed, nor shall any person be compelled to attend or support any form of worship. I'm John Beers. I have 2 kids in Marion Park. Nor any preference be given by law to any religious establishment or mode of worship. No religious test or property qualification shall be required for any office of public trust, nor for any vote for any election, nor shall any person be incompetent to testify on account of religious belief. In the Bible, it is clear wearing a mask is against God, and it interferes with our religious rights and our rights of conscience by not permitting exemptions. Public Health Order number 001-21 provides Section 1, maintaining healthy school environments for elementary level students to ensure that schools may operate as safely as possible. Public and private schools for students up to and including 6th grade shall be required to wear masks or other face coverings while inside school buildings. For any student through and including 6th grade attend class unless activity, eating, or drinking. You have relied on this public health order based on the federal funding ESSER 3 ARP funds. Shawnee Mission School District maintains home rule authority. The county has no jurisdiction over Shawnee Mission Schools home rule. The federal government has set aside $115 billion in federal funds, and the CDC has added another $10 billion, making the complete package $125 billion. This money was distributed throughout the 50 states to help reach each state open the school for our children. However, what you fail to tell parents that you are required to write these laws, enforce these laws, and reject anything and everything a parent demands to stop. The CDC controls the narrative and the ARP plan, and by accepting and taking this money, you have willingly and freely imprisoned and enslaved our children. No agency has the right to interfere with parents' God-given rights and freedoms of choice that has been granted to us by our standing forefathers when they fought for our freedoms, liberties, and pursuit of happiness. The Constitution of the United States of America gives us freedom of choice, religions, and pursuit of happiness. The ESSER grant accepted by Shawnee Mission School District comes with the price paid by our children. The agreement to enforce and coerce unlawful COVID mitigation set forth by the federal government, see your guidebook by United States Education Department called Ed COVID-19 Handbook, Strategies for Safely Reopening Elementary and Secondary Schools.
Sabrina Hardy, thank you. If you could just leave that with Ms. Wintering, that would be preferred, thank you.
Strategy.
You're taking away time from the next.
My name is Sabrina Hardy, and I have 3 children within the district. I live in Lenexa. KSA 38.141, parents' right to exercise primary control over the upbringing of their children, cause of action. A, as used in this section, children. Child means a person under 18 years of age, and parent means and includes a natural parent, adoptive parent, step-parent, or guardian. It shall be the public policy of the state that parents shall retain the fundamental right to exercise primary control over the care and upbringing of their children in their charge. It is further the public policy of the state that children shall have the right to protection from abuse and neglect. You, as a board, have overstepped your bounds as publicly elected servants to the state of Kansas, where you swore an oath to uphold the Constitution of the state and the United States of America. You, as the board, have no right to disregard the laws of our state and deny any parent the right to make choices for the children. This includes health-related choices that we shall make on our own and do not need to be dictated by the board or any board who is serving us as a public servant. 18 U.S.C. 1470, transfer of obscene material to minors. The U.S. Supreme Court established the test that judges and juries use to determine whether matter is obscene in 3 major cases. Miller v. California, 413 U.S.C. U.S. 15, 24-25 in 1973, Smith v. United States, 1977, Pope v. Illinois, 1987. These 3-pronged Miller test is as follows. Whether the average person applying contemporary adult community standards finds that the matter taken as a whole appeals to prurient interest, i.e. an erotic, lascivious, abnormal, unhealthy, degrading, shameful, or morbid interest in nudity, sex, or excretion. Even the Supreme Court has established a law that prohibits this type of material into our public schools. If we find it offensive and believe it tries to sexually arouse our children, if this is the type of material that is taught in public schools, each and every teacher who pushes this type of material should be removed from the public schools. This includes you for allowing this to be brought into our school and displayed before our children. Harmful to minors laws, SB 17, prevents elementary and secondary schools and non-college university libraries from raising a defense to the lawmaking at a felony to expose minors to harmful material. It also strips our protections for material that is disseminated for educational purposes. It lets parents sue to enforce this criminal statute. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up some paperwork for you guys. It's just a notice of intent.
So if you want to hand it out, I will wait for the next speaker until you're done. We may run out of time, so you can either leave it with me.
I want to make sure that I give it to the president. And it's just a notice of intent to file. So Henry, and then Stratton, and then Goodburn.
We're just going to run out of time for other speakers.
Oh, I understand.
That's
Sorry.
okay. That's okay. Your choice.
You are out. Sorry about that. Thank you.
Shar Collins.
Hi, Cheryl Collins. I live in Overland Park. All right, I'm going to move on. Harmful to minors laws, SB 17. That's all right. Prevents elementary and secondary schools and non-college universities' libraries from raising a defense to lawmaking at a felony to expose minors to harmful material. It also strips away protections for material that is disseminated for educational purposes. It lets parents sue to enforce this criminal statute. The books you have purchased and displayed in your school library are harmful to minors and disseminated for educational purposes. Furthermore, the material you teach in the classroom conserving critical race theory, CRT, and LGBTQ+, and plus means pedophilia, in case anyone didn't know. They have no place in the public schools. Furthermore, holding gay rights parades and demanding children to declare that there are transgender to participate is against the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States, which you swore an oath to uphold and protect. 42 U.S. Code 1983, Civil Action of Deprivation of Rights. Every person who, under the color of any statute, ordinance, regulation, custom, usage of any state or territory or the District of Columbia subjects or causes to be subjected any citizen of the United States or other person within the jurisdiction thereof to the deprivation of any rights, privileges, or immunities secured by the Constitution and laws, shall be liable to the party injured in an action at law, suit in equity, or other proper proceeding to redress, except that in any action brought against a judicial officer for an act or omission taken in such officer's judicial capacity. Our children have a right to live without requirements or mandates that restrict our ability to breathe freely. Forced mandates on children has caused behavioral problems, learning disabilities, and damaged social skills. 18 U.S.C. 111, assaulting, resisting, or impeding certain officers or employees, assaulting, resisting, or impeding certain officers, or employees in general, whoever forcibly assaults, resists, opposes, impedes, intimidates, or interferes with any person designated in section 11:14 of this title while engaged in or on account of the performance of official duties.
30 seconds.
Thank you. Forcibly assaults or intimidates. I'm going to go ahead and just pass this out so I don't take anyone else's time. Sarah, Mary, Heather, Jamie, Joe, and Michelle, and I've got one. I'll run her back. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sarah Starford, you are next. Sarah Starford.
Hello, my name is Sarah Starford. My husband and I are graduates of Shawnee Mission East. We even met in Rocket Science Club at Mission Valley Middle School. We have 2 elementary sons in the district as well. Needless to say, I have a vested interest in our district on a very special personal level. But tonight I come to you as a heartbroken teacher in the district. Later tonight on your consent agenda, you will approve the HR report. I want you to know that one of those names on the HR report is more than a name or a position to be filled before next year. It is the resignation of Mr. Stephen Wiley, principal, Arrowhead Day School. Stephen Wiley has been the heart and leader of our building since day one of Arrowhead opening. He is the reason many staff have made significant life choices and decisions to stay in the district and at Arrowhead. 5 years ago, I came to Shawnee Mission when Arrowhead Day School was open. Arrowhead is my happy teaching place. I've never loved a teaching position, school, or career like I love what I'm doing now and being at Arrowhead. This is the longest I've stayed in one position and building in my 17 years of teaching. Our days can be really hard at Arrowhead, and we have seen and heard things that most teachers and school staff couldn't imagine. However, myself and many others keep coming back and can't think of being anywhere else. A big reason why I choose to come back every year is Mr. Wiley. I've never worked harder, but loved my job more. I've even put off my school counselor internship because I cannot imagine not being at Arrowhead. I've sat in countless IEP meetings, received emails, texts, and phone calls from family members and parents that never thought their kids would graduate if it hadn't been for Arrowhead. And while Mr. Wiley would never take the credit, he has made our school what it is today, and so many of our students would not be as successful as they are if they have been without him and his dedication to Arrowhead. Mr. Wiley is always the calm in the storm. He balances the trauma, behaviors, academics, families, and staff. He has made me believe in myself and still challenges me to do better. It is because of him I actually see myself as a great teacher, all while making me reflect and become even better. He realizes that I am a real person with a real family and understands that priority without any guilt. Mr. Wiley understands that our staff needs to be able to put our own oxygen masks on before we can help our students and be the best educators that our building needs. We are a small but mighty school. We are filled with challenges, but even bigger love. We are a family, and right now we are heartbroken. There will never be another Mr. Wiley. I have some letters from parents and other staff members.
Sarah, thank you so much. Can you share that with them? All right, Tommy Hitt.
Who?
Hi, good evening. I am Tommy Hitt. My husband and I live in Lenexa, and I am a teacher at Arrowhead Day program. And I wanted to take the time to extend my appreciation and support and guidance to Mr. Wiley. Arrowhead is a unique program with the students need such individualized attention. Mr. Wiley has the skill of balancing the needs of the staff, students, and families. There are a million stories I could share with you that would speak to the characteristics that he possesses and that make our program great. As a first-year teacher, Mr. Wiley has provided the resources and insight needed for me to be able to provide the best I can for my students. He has the ability to give us criticism and feedback, making me more motivated to do the hard work our students need from us. In the end, it is an environment that kids and staff are able to question, try new things, and grow their abilities. I am sharing because I want to shed some light on the loss that staff, students, and families will experience upon his resignation. Thank you for listening.
No,
Thank you.
you gotta let the officer. That's got intent letters.
Carrie Ivy, I believe, I'm not sure if she's here. We have two. All right, thank you.
Hi, I'm Carrie Ivy. I'm from Lenexa, Kansas. I have 3 kids in elementary. Our entire community can go nearly anywhere in this district without a mask on, yet our kids are forced to cover their faces all day long in our schools for a virus with a 99.98% survival rate. It's taken a stake on their education, sanity, and social skills. We are forcing these kids to carry a burden that has never been theirs to carry. Masks may make some feel empowered by giving us something we can do in the face of a largely invisible threat. To a certain extent, this is understandable. As someone severely immunocompromised, I was there. But most of the masks worn by most of the kids during most of this pandemic have likely done nothing to stop COVID transmission, and yet we continue to impose the most wearing restrictions on the youngest among us. As a mom of a child with ADHD, anxiety, and hypersensitivity, I am fed up. These kids need to see faces. As a former educator, I strongly believe that masking is a psychological stressor for children and disrupts learning. Covering the face of both teacher and pupil reduces the ability to communicate. This is extremely frustrating for many teachers. Young children lose the essential experience of mimicking expressions. Positive emotions such as laughing and smiling become less recognizable, and negative emotions become amplified. It is likely that masking enhances the chance that a child will experience anxiety and depression, which are already at pandemic levels themselves. Our children are now being raised in fear of each other, the world, illness, and the air we breathe. One day we will look back and regret the damage that has been done to our kids, the fear, mental, physical, and psychological repercussions they may suffer. We must stop putting this on them. I hear they are handling it just fine. Kids are resilient. It's just a mask. I say stop. Stop and look around for a minute. They are not okay. This is not okay. And let's be scientific about what masks really do to your body. The moment you reduce oxygen intake and increase carbon dioxide levels, we immediately create an environment that promotes the growth of microorganisms. The major majority of kids who have been infected have recovered with zero consequence, similar to the flu. And kids can now get the COVID vaccine if their family chooses. It breaks my heart to see, as I know several young people severely injured by these shots. But the point is, families can now protect themselves how they see fit. They may also choose to wear a K95 or N95 for protection. As we all know, other masks do nothing to protect this virus. Yes, our community has seen a big uptick in cases. Nearly everyone I know has been touched by this virus at this point, vaccinated or not. The good news is we are now looking at some major herd immunity. It's time to move on and stop moving the goalpost. Last week's ruling by Johnson County Judge Rhonda Mason states that the school district's home rule overrides the Board of County Commissioners' health order, meaning the Board of Education can no longer hide behind the VOCC's public health order. Yeah. Amen. Their children in order to assure their right to breathe. Our kids are counting on you to make a change. It is time for mass choice.
Amen.
Scott Bozarth.
I'm Scott Bozarth from Merriam, Kansas. I used to have kids in the district, but I pulled them out because of your abuse and depravity. So, we're serving you this notice today And we're informing you that the notifying party, us, has provided the above descriptions of the unconstitutional and illegal actions that have endangered the health of my children attending schools in this Johnson County district. Furthermore, the CRT and LGBTQ+ is inappropriate material to be taught in any school. It incites violence and causes suicidal tendencies in our children. If these illegal mandates do not stop today, I will seek damages for the full amount listed above, which is $100,000. I will do it. I don't think you guys know that by now. If you do not stop these actions today, we're going to file a claim against your surety bond with Liberty Mutual per clause for faithful performance of duty. Bond 999-121446. You have 72 hours upon receipt of this notice to correct these violations at all the schools in this district. This includes stop coercing all forms of COVID-19 propaganda concerning how dangerous this is to parents and grandparents, that all children should want to save their lives by getting the vaccine and can choose for themselves and do not need the consent of their parents. Stop. You're not doctors. Don't give medical advice. End all vaccine clinics in our school grounds. Let doctors handle that. Cease coercion and pushing CRT, Transgender Gay Rights Week, demanding children to declare if they are transgender to participate in school activities. And if parents or those kids disagree, quit labeling them bigots. C. Halt enforcement of all policies that require universal masking and masking without parental consent. This includes forcing vaccines on teachers and masking the teachers of the district. Cease masking of all children K through 12. Cease all medical testing. Cease all quarantines, isolation, and segregation of students. Cease all contact tracing. Cease any and all sharing of medical records with any public, private, state, or federal organization. Remove all obscene books and material from the public school system immediately. End illegal mandates for the vaccination and masking for teachers and staff of District 512. Failure to comply with the aforementioned demands within 72 hours after receiving this notice will result in a claim being filed against your Liberty Mutual Insurance bond in the full amount of the surety bond. We will follow through.
That concludes our meeting for we will adjourn down.